Beavemanites and Docutrons, assemble!
Okay, so back in the day, I was way above the wave, man. I traded in the girls for the video games. I played so much Super Smash Bros. Other kids called me names. They called me...
Welcome, Beavemanites and Docutrons. It is I, the Beaveman, coming to you from the great state of Arizona. We are currently in Phoenix in a very kind of, mildewy, if you will, orange-walled, kind of crappy hotel. And my son Skylar is visiting me, so it's Beaveman in the dock minus the dock.
The hotel has a lot of heart. I'll give it that.
It's got some decent art. Almost looks like the chest, sort of. You could say it's like Spider-Man-like.
One could say.
And also the insects that crawling all over the place are also Spider-Man-like.
It all comes together very nicely.
Right. So we were on our way to go see Endgame, and so I can't ruin that movie for you because they had a power outage and at our most favorite movie theater.
Very unfortunate.
The great Alamo. So nothing against the Alamo. Any listeners out there who work for the Alamo, you're doing God's work.
Yeah, it's not always easy.
No, but it's very disappointing. So we will be going later here very soon and going to see it in a different Alamo at the Chandler area. And hopefully they won't have a power outage there. Unfortunately, we're going to be in the front seat, so I'm going to get some neck strain.
I've been experimenting different seat-wise. So far, front seat, I'm leaning towards it not being as terrible. Depends on the theater, though.
Right. I mean, if it reclines, we're good. If it doesn't recline, I don't know what it's going to be like.
I don't have my hopes up, but I will also be okay.
I'm just looking forward to the food and looking forward to wrapping it all up. Yeah, we literally got to see, I'm going to say 30 seconds of the movie.
I'd say about that much, yeah.
Just long enough for me to start to ponder what's going to actually happen.
It could have been much worse. I'm sure there were other theaters halfway through the movie at very climactic moments that I think of in my head about that movie, and they will not be able to finish it because there are no tickets available for the foreseeable future.
No, and I was definitely looking forward to some food as well, so...
I got my food. It was pretty good.
Yeah, you got your food. I didn't get my food. I wanted to wait. I wanted to wait because I thought that was a better idea.
The impatient one gets his food.
So this topic this week, did you know that the United States and New Zealand are the only countries that allow direct-to-consumer drug advertising that include product claims?
I feel like I've heard something about that because you watch those commercials and they're very misleading, so it makes sense for countries not to allow them.
Yeah, I think so as well. But there's also things that in other countries that are allowed in the United States, but are not commonly allowed, like the beverages like Monster and stuff. You won't see that in a lot of European countries, is my understanding, because it's not very good for you. So, what is direct-to-consumer drug advertising? You might be asking if you're one of those folks who is interested in what that actually means. That is an effort. Utilizing the popular media by pharmaceutical companies to promote its prescription products directly to patients. And like I said, most countries don't allow it at all, but Canada does allow ads that mention either the product or the indication, but not both. So I'm paraphrasing from an article by Celie Ventola, Master of Science, in an online article from the NCBI website. This article was in Pharmacy and Therapeutics for those of you who think that I don't actually try to do some sort of journey of discovery.
Well, it makes sense because if you think about it, drug commercials that sell directly to people watching TV at home is such a foreign concept, but also sounds very American.
Yeah, it is very American. I'm pretty sure that I've had patients who are female ask me for medications for their prostate.
Yeah, that's probably not going to work out well.
So I guess maybe people are wondering why do we care? Why do I care? There's several reasons why I care, but I'm going to look at more of the lighter side of things and not the professional side, because I could rant on and on about why I care about this sort of thing.
The opioid crisis is real, and it's here.
Yeah, the opioid crisis is real, and there's finally, I caught a little bit of it, some pharmaceutical companies finally getting sued for major millions for their contribution. It wasn't a pharmaceutical company, let me rephrase that, it was actually a distributor. They're getting sued for quite a bit for their role that was played in supporting the opioid crisis.
They've been talking about it on the news that they're talking about on NPR. They're starting to persecute more doctors writing frivolous prescriptions, which is good.
I think so too, because in the 2 states that I practice in, they give you reports on how many opioids or how many controlled substances you've prescribed. My stats are very, 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 very low.
Yeah, the one doctor I heard that they went after, he contributed something like 3 million pills in the drug trade in like 7 years.
Oh, actually, I left a job because when I applied for it, it was as a contracted job, as an independent contractor, is what I do now. I asked them specifically, I'm like, how many of your patients are on controlled substances? And they're like, oh, we only got a couple. And then every single patient I saw almost was on controlled substances. Large amounts of controlled substances. Very large amounts of what we call morphine equivalent. So that was disturbing. So I left that job very quickly. And in the short period of time I was there, my stats for prescription controlled substances just skyrocketed.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's a problem. That it's good that they're going after the people actually prescribing the medication, because one guy can contribute millions upon millions of pills into that circulation.
Yeah, thankfully I'm not one of those. So we already know that we're bombarded by advertisements in the United States. That's why we go to movies, and that's why we do things and buy weight loss pills and all kinds of other stuff that's probably never going to work for us, because we're bombarded by advertisements for everything. So we're too fat, we're too ugly, we don't dress well, there's a pill or an appliance or makeup or something for everything that's wrong with us.
I'm still looking for the one that works.
Yeah, everybody's looking for the one that works. So one of the most amusing ad campaigns that I can remember shows Larry the Cable Guy.
Oh, yeah.
Eating food that is clearly bad for him. But no problem. He can just take Prilosec. I'm Larry the Cable Guy. I'm about to eat this chili cheese dog with chili cheese fries and stuffed jalapenos, but it's okay because I had Prilosec, OTC.
Well, they treat pills like this very magical substance that you can just take and everything is okay, but if you ever read the bottom of the screen where they're telling you that basically if you take this you'll die, those are always entertaining.
Well, yeah, at least with Prilosec, it doesn't have like a billion bad side effects. Everything has bad side effects. If anybody's ever consistently had a side effect, then that's listed. At least with Prilosec, you're kind of looking at it and going, well, I remember when I was first training, they told us that they had to stay on Prilosec forever. They're like, oh, you got to keep them on it forever. Oh, they got to stay on it forever. And it doesn't work as needed. It has to build up and they have to stay on it. Which I knew from practice after a while. I'm like, well, no, people can take it as needed and it seems to work. And I don't like to keep people on medications for a really long time without trying to figure out what's wrong. I just try to figure out stuff what's wrong. But with that particular medication, it's kind of funny because Larry the Cable Guy, God bless him because I like him, but he's doing all kinds of fun things. He's like at carnivals and the roller derby, and he can eat whatever he wants because he's got Prilosec, OTC. It doesn't matter if I shit blood for a month, but I just take Prilosec, OTC, and it's okay. I don't even know if he's still a spokes guy for that.
I think he's been doing a couple drug commercials here and there still. Yeah,
well, I think that you could take that magic pill, or maybe, just maybe, you could eat better.
But that's the thing, people don't want to.
You could eat a little bit better.
Speaking from experience, I don't want to eat better, but I also don't take pills. So there's that.
So here we are in the downtown Phoenix area, and you can hear the fire truck or the ambulance or whatever that is. I think everybody's like that. Everybody wants that magic pill. But, I think with Larry, this is going out to you, Larry the Cable Guy. If you listen to my podcast, and I'm sure you follow me.
I'm sure he's listening right now.
I'm sure he's listening right now. If you would just eat whole foods, Larry, and stop eating all that grease and nastiness, then you would probably naturally lose some weight, and you wouldn't have that big belly that's pushing up on your diaphragm and pushing up on, the juncture of your diaphragm and where your esophagus, not to get all technical, where your esophagus goes through the diaphragm, meeting up with your stomach and all that good stuff. You probably wouldn't have all that pressure on your stomach, and you probably wouldn't have all that reflux type symptom. If
he
you
probably doesn't even take Prilosec.
Probably not. Yeah, maybe he doesn't take Prilosec. Who knows? But it's coated and it's good tasting, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I think they got little different flavors for them probably now. Now with new tropical berry, Prilosec, OTC.
All that sounds disgusting. I'd rather just have a plain, boring pill.
Interestingly enough, though, if you stopped eating all that, that would help with your reflux. But also, if you take too much, if you take too much of that pill, then you're going to be blocking way too much acid. And believe it or not, people, we actually need that acid.
Oh, yeah.
For utilization of, for example, you won't absorb B12 very well if you just completely block that acid down. The other thing that's really funny, just specifically without getting too technical or anything, is I spoke with a gastroenterologist before in the past, and they said, you know what, Beaveman, that's what they call me, the symptom of heartburn caused by too much acid is the same symptom that's caused by not enough acid in your stomach. So you can get it with either way. But, hey, I'm just one provider. It doesn't really matter what I think. I do know some providers who prescribe way too much, and he swears that everything that's wrong with the human body is directly related to oversecretion of acid in the stomach. So he prescribes like 3 to 4 times the amount of doses that are recommended.
I don't think that's true. Just going on a limb.
But hey, it's also his business, not my business. None of my business.
Right. I mean, technically, I suppose. But also that's dumb.
Well, I mean, you can find a study for supporting or refuting pretty much everything.
Yeah, but wouldn't the body just stop making so much acid?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then you're going to have a B12 deficiency because you have to have hydrochloric acid to absorb B12.
Well, even in general, wouldn't your body just be like, we're producing too much acid, and then over time just stop producing too much?
Well, if you produce too much acid and you're not combating it or you're not changing your diet, then you're likely to get an ulcer. The mucus is lining our stomach.
Right.
So that's helping to tone it down a little bit. But over time, hey. But hey, I'm Larry the Cable Guy. And I like Prilosec OTC. I like flannel, and I don't like to have sleeves on my shirt.
Well, apparently he likes contributing to our overall demise because now our stomachs are going to digest themselves.
So that one's kind of funny. So if you're overweight and you don't like to exercise,
then stop being that way. Or you can do what you want, but stop. Just stop it.
Well, but you need a magic pill probably.
Most likely in that scenario.
I mean, there's lots of magic pills out there. So one of my favorites is Orlistat, or I think it's also under Xenical. So Orlistat is the generic name for Ally. And Ally is a special weight loss medication. So instead of counting calories, watching your diet, trying not to consume like 5 gallons of pop a day, it's best to just take a pill. Have you heard of Ally?
I have not. I'm trying to think of it. I haven't heard of that one.
So Ally is what it does is its mechanism of action, or how it works, is it inhibits gastric and pancreatic lipases, reducing fat absorption. So instead of your body secreting these enzymes to emulsify the fat so that we absorb or more nutrients or etc., and we're getting more fat in our diet, because we don't really digest fat per se, we store.
Right.
We just break it up we break it down a little bit. And so instead of doing that, it's inhibiting these lipases or these enzymes, so that instead you're going to not have the fat absorbed and you're going to pass the fat.
That's what I was thinking it did.
So I guess, so what does that even mean, really?
Well, it sounds like more that eating is something that we need to do to absorb nutrients and fat and have body warmth and everything like that. But it sounds like this pill just kind of makes it like when a robot puts something in its mouth and it pops out the other side whole. That's kind of what it
Yeah, kind of. But specifically, we're talking about fat. So if you had a low-fat diet and it wasn't spicy and you didn't need Prilosec OTC, it'd probably work pretty decently, because then you're just going to pass fat. So instead of emulsifying, absorbing, etc., you're going to pass it. And you'll, of course, when you talk about passing it, you're going to pass it in your stool, obviously. But what if you don't eat a healthy low-fat diet?
Then wouldn't I imagine you're not getting much out of your food if you're trying to pass that much of it?
Well, if it's trying to break down the fat, or it's blocking those enzymes, but you decided you're going to eat fat anyway, you're going to start to see a lot more fat coming out your back end from the stuff that you ate.
That doesn't sound like fun.
No, so it's like, hey guys, I lost 1 pound this week, and I didn't even change my diet at all. I continue to eat the same old shit that I normally eat, except unfortunately now I have to buy new pants.
Yeah.
So So here's some of the common reactions of ally. Oily spotting. So, I mean, that's attractive. Oh. It's attractive if you only wash your own underwear. If somebody else has to wash your underwear and pants, like, if your mom or your significant other is the one who washes your clothes, they're going to be wondering why it looks like you, sat on a cheeseburger, I guess.
Or melted butter in your underwear.
Right. Flatus with discharge. That's a fancy name for sharding. Fecal urgency. These are the common side effects. So what I didn't do was I didn't list the severe side effects. I listed the common side effects. So fecal urgency. That means you feel like you feel the need and you better go quick or it's going to get ugly real quick. Like that favorite song that people had about diarrhea. So when you're sliding into third, and you know it's not a turd. Let's see. Loose stools. Defecation increase. That might not be such a bad thing. You just poop more. But actually, people, if you pooped more than you eat, you'd probably have less issues. Fatty stools. Looks like an oil spill in your toilet. Oh. Fecal incontinence. Yay, you shit yourself. And like I said, these are common, which means you may have changed your diet, and this still happens. So even if you ate a low-fat diet, you could see some increase, some of those urges to defecate or poop, rather. I'm sorry, and some more fatty stools, which I guess is kind of cool. I have a funny story about that though.
The risk just doesn't sound worth it. Clothes are expensive.
Yeah, clothes are expensive. So I remember years ago I was overweight. And I'd been on antidepressants, and I gained like almost 60 pounds, like in a very short period of time. I think it was like maybe in a year I gained it. So I switched antidepressants to one that was that doesn't cause you to gain weight. And I figured, well, I was exercising, I was running a lot, exercising a lot, trying to lose weight. So I was like, well, let me try Ally and see if it works. And I wasn't eating high fat, and I still had fat leaking out my butt. Ugh. So you know what chorizo looks like, right? You've seen me make that.
Yeah.
And it makes a really brilliantly colored orangish red grease.
That's always fun.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of. So shooting chorizo grease out of my hind end.
Well, look at you now. You're skinny, so it worked out.
Well, I didn't use it more than one bottle.
Well, right.
I'm like, those side effects were horrible. You try to like, oh well, that's not going to happen to me because I'm going to eat a low fat diet, and I still had that. I ruined a pair of pants.
Well, it's all terrible because if you're almost no matter what you're on, unless it's like Tylenol once a year, then you're gonna have some bad side effects.
Yeah, you could. And not saying that medicine's bad. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, use a little common sense. There's just some funny stuff out there. If that tells you what the side effects are, then maybe just pay attention. So my point is, just think about it. Do you need the medication? Prilosec I can understand, but Ally is maybe a little bit of a vanity medication. And how much is your self-esteem going to take a hit if you shoot chorizo out your hind end?
You're trading one vice for the other.
Speaking of vanity, how important is it for you to have long, luxurious eyelashes?
I hate that I have long, luxurious eyelashes because they always twist and fall in on each other, and I can't put my contacts in. But every time someone sees them, they say that they're so jealous and wish they had them.
Yeah, people tell me that too. So a lot of people obviously think that it's super important. So I know when I think about my life and how full it has been because I have long, luxurious lashes, my life has been so charmed because of that compared to everybody else. No, that's not true at all.
I mean, it blocks dust, I guess, but I still have incredibly dry, dusty eyes. So I don't know what they're here for.
Well, my life has been pretty hard in general, and I've had to deal with a lot of crap. And I think a lot of it was caused by myself. But I shudder to think what it would have been like if I didn't have long, luxurious eyelashes.
Could have been even worse.
It could have been much worse. I mean, there's only so much you can do with eye makeup, I guess. So, well, don't worry. There is a medication for that.
Well, what's the point? I mean, I guess I understand the point, but also there shouldn't be a point because it's not good. It's not glorious.
No, some people really want thick eyelashes.
I know, and it's dumb.
For men, it's a sign of vulnerability, and that makes them more attractive to women. Maybe, I'm just guessing.
I guess, but I mean, I'd be sensitive without the eyelashes, probably.
Well, there's a medication. It's called Latisse, and it's the answer to thin, short lashes.
I've heard of this.
It's a prescription cosmetic ophthalmic medication, fancy words, So no longer do you need to suffer with debilitating lashes. They got Brooke Shields to be the spokesperson for that, who I always assumed had beautiful thick lashes on her own.
Well, now we know she's a cheat and a liar.
Well, so what's really kind of funny about a lot of the medications that the FDA says, it's interesting. You can have a medication and show that it works for a prescribed symptom.
Right.
But you don't have to know the mechanism of action. Actually, a lot of times when I prescribe a medication, it will say mechanism of action unknown, which is interesting. So if you want your lashes to grow back long and you want them to be nice and full, then you probably want to use Latisse. But like I said, we don't know why it works. But it has been shown to increase the percent of eyelashes in growth phase and has been shown to prolong growth phase. So yay, full lashes.
But at what cost?
Well, there can't possibly be any side effects.
Well, I mean, I don't know how eyelashes work. I assume it's all... They're kind of like hair. I assume it's like hair, where they grow and they have different phases. They start and they grow and they fall out. So, I don't know. It just seems weird that you would be able to isolate one part of that without any odd side effects.
Well, I mean, they don't eat it. They just apply it.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I'm still skeptical on that.
But yes, you guessed it. There are side effects. And once again, what I did was list the common side effects. Not the serious side effects. The common one.
You don't eat it. You just put it on your eyes.
You just apply it to your eyelids. So, ocular pruritus. That's a fancy term for your eyes itch really bad. So you rub them. No big deal, right? That you can shrug that off.
I think that's where it starts getting bad for me.
Of course, then if you rub them, I would think you would make your eyelashes fall out. Because when I rub my eyes, my eyelashes fall out. But maybe it's just because I have thick, luxurious eyelashes.
I just sit there and 6 fall out in a crumble.
Yeah. So why are my eyelashes falling out? Because you rubbed your eyes. And because that's what happens, ding dong, when you rub your eyes. Conjunctival hyperemia. That's a fancy word for it looks like you got bloodshot eyes all the time.
Oof.
So that's a good way to detract from your thin eyelashes. Now you've got bloodshot eyes. Periorbital skin darkening. Basically, that looks like somebody punched you in the eye. Look like you got raccoon eyes. Ocular irritation. So an irritated eyeball, more itchiness. Dry eyes. Who cares, right? Just use eye drops.
I mean, I would assume that it sounds bad because once you said that you don't eat it, I knew there would be a lot of problems with that. Because if you're applying something directly to your eye, or your eyelid even, that doesn't sound like a good idea.
No, a lot of the side effects don't sound like a good idea. Eyelid erythema, red and swollen eyelids, but you got thicker eyelashes, even though your eyes really hurt.
I mean, I guess not many people see your eyelids. That one could be bearable.
Well, they'll see them when they're red and puffy.
Well, I guess if you can't, close them.
Yeah. Foreign body sensation, like you've got something in your eye.
Like another person in there?
Like a foreign body, it feels like you've got a grain of sand or something in your eye. That foreign body sensation, like you always feel like something in your eye. Generally, it's a person's finger. I've noticed that. Iris hyperpigmentation. So the colored part of your eye can change colors, be hyperpigmented. So if you got blue eyes, maybe you got a brown spot on your eyes. No big deal. I always wanted two-toned irises. I mean, people will be intrigued. It'll be a topic of conversation.
Be like a very interesting cat.
Yeah. I mean, I want brown and dark brown, like in an umbrella configuration. I think that would be cool. And then eyelash darkening, which is not horrible, I guess, unless you're blonde and now all of a sudden you've got black eyelashes, maybe.
Yeah.
But hey, you wouldn't need a mascara anymore. So I know you're probably thinking, and the listeners are probably thinking, why am I being so mean? People need to have medications to feel better about themselves. Stop being a jerk. I'm sorry. Sorry for being a jerk.
No, I don't think medication's evil, but I definitely think there is way too much of it. I don't know, and we're kind of conditioned to, whenever something's wrong, to pick up a bottle, which is very weird. It's a very weird way of thinking, because whenever I have headaches, or if I have tooth pain, or if I have whatever, I just go grab a Tylenol or an ibuprofen, and then after I take it, I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that, because I do it all the time. But it's not like an addictive behavior, but it is ingrained in the mind. Pretty much anything that you need taken care of, you can just go to your medicine cabinet, which is a very weird way of thinking.
Yeah, I really wasn't raised on medications. And even now, even though I'm in pain every day, I don't take I really don't take anything. So I guess if I woke up one morning and I didn't have any pain and I hadn't taken any medications, I would naturally assume that I actually died. But I don't have a problem with medications. I have a problem with medications not being utilized appropriately, and then people taking them, and then getting side effects, and then some knucklehead giving them medications for the side effect from that medication, and then giving them a medication for a side effect from that medication. Next thing you know, the person's on 10 medications. They don't even know why they're taking the medication in the first place.
And then you can't just take them off 10 medications.
No. So how about this one? So let's say your pencil doesn't have any lead. That's a euphemism.
Well, that's why I just use mechanical pencils.
Is that the case?
Well, I mean, a regular pencil you have to sharpen, and I don't always have a sharpener around, so I just use a mechanical pencil.
Well, by lead in the pencil, I mean this person can't get an erection.
Well, you probably could have just said that.
That's why I said it's a euphemism.
Well, now I'm thinking about writing.
So why does that happen? Why can't people get it? Some men can't get an erection. There's lots of reasons why.
I assume just lack of constriction in the blood vessels for whatever reasons.
Or too constricted.
Oh.
Or buildup of plaques. So, or maybe their partner's ugly and they don't want to have sex with them. That's possible.
That could be.
Or maybe they got some underlying psychological issue, like they can't have an erection because they're thinking about doing their taxes or something weird like that. Some people have trauma. Some people have trauma, and they just, they can wake up with an erection but not be able to obtain one when they're under pressure, I guess you would say. But then there is the obvious medical reasons. Underlying conditions like peripheral vascular disease, enlarged prostate, cardiovascular disease, heart disease, hormone disturbance. Some people have those conditions, and some people take medications that cause them to not be able to get an erection. So regardless, people who want to have relations with their significant other, they need to have what's called a firm noodle. Actually, if you, Ellen did a really good funny, on the Ellen show, she did like a fake commercial for Viagra. It was pretty hilarious.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, I highly recommend that people check it out on YouTube. It's a good Ellen moment. And for those of you who don't like Ellen, why don't you like to laugh? What's wrong with you? She's good, what would you say? I guess good-natured funny.
Yeah, I mean, she's better than a lot of the late-night comedians.
Yeah. I would say that probably, my guess is that Doc doesn't like Ellen.
I would imagine probably not.
For multiple reasons. Clearly, Ellen's probably a Democrat. Not only that, she's a lesbian, so she can't be funny. Oh, and she's a woman. So, anyway.
The big three.
Doc isn't here to defend himself, but if he was, I bet he would confirm that he indeed does not like Ellen.
I'm sure if he was listening, which he's probably not going to, he would be hurt. But he's probably not going to listen, so it's okay.
Yes, that's all right. So, anyway, sexuality, homosexuality is good for the mentality. Believe it or not, penile assistive devices can be prescribed by a healthcare provider. I have actually prescribed them in the past. They actually have medical grade penis pumps.
That's weird.
Well, I mean, I guess it's better than them having to embarrass themselves by going into an adult store and buying one.
I guess, but what, like a balloon animal or something?
What?
Like you just make a dog out of it? I don't get it.
A penis pump is a vacuum assistive device that they put over the top of their penis and use a little hand pump on the other end or a mechanical pump to make a vacuum inside the tube to make their penis larger.
Oh, you say pump, it just sounds like putting air into something. So like what, you put like a tire?
It's got a nozzle on it.
Like
it's got a nozzle on the end, and you hook that up to your penis.
Like your tire pressure's low? So you're just like, let me go to the garage? I don't know. That's what it sounds like. Because you can't say pump. That just sounds like it
That's
pushes
funny.
air.
Well, it's pump because that's the action that you're using.
I guess. But, I mean, you say like a tire gauge. That's what it sounds like.
That's funny. That's funny.
I mean, I don't know. I pray for those who have to use the tire gauge.
So for some people, though, can make lifestyle changes and correct or improve medical conditions to improve their sexual function. So that's kind of what the point is. So, but there's commercials out there. I'm sure you've seen them.
Yeah, I've seen a few of them.
You know when the right time. You're gardening. I don't know why anybody's gardening. They're always gardening. Yeah.
It's always old people, like gardening, sitting by the pool.
Gardening, or they're, the one that Ellen made fun of, they're like painting a bench. They're staining a bench, but there's no paint on the paintbrush.
Yeah, or they're doing something weird like together, like in the same moment. You're like, I don't understand where this is supposed to go. And you know that grandma and grandpa are watching that. They're like, this is so stupid. This is dumb. Because they're just watching these old people paint a wall with nothing on their paintbrush, not understanding what it's about.
Well, they think it's dumb because there's two people that are married spending time with each other.
Yeah, in the same room.
Right. But when that happens, though, those people better have that pill, man. He's got to take that pill. You got to take it right away.
He looks like he'd die if he took it. That's what I don't.
That's always the thing that scares me the most when people ask me for it. I'm like, is this person going to die if I prescribe this pill? And for some reason, they always have in some ways, it's always some dude with this unnaturally attractive middle-aged wife, and that's really sad because he needs it.
Yeah, it's the amount of people that are my age dating like 60-year-olds is an oddly high number.
Is it really?
It's a thing, I guess, because they always talk about they're like. It's so dumb, which makes me not believe it, but they're saying that, like, muscle bodies are out and normal, average, quote-unquote, dad bodies are in, and I just call them liars. But that's what is the thing now, apparently, which is good for me, because I'm not in shape. But also, at the same time, I think it's very dumb. But, I don't know. And so now there's, like, this whole... It seems just to be, like, my generation or the one right before it that is very conditioned to be like, well, I'm 30. I don't have a problem dating this 70-year-old. It's happening a lot.
Wow. I did not know that. Well, see, when people say dad bod, I don't get offended because I'm like, well, I'm a dad and I don't have...
Yeah. I mean, it's just like a normal, average body. And I'm like, well, that's good. I also don't believe it, but...
I don't think I have a normal, average body for somebody my age.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I don't. Having taken care of a lot of patients...
Or just looking around in general.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I don't have one of those.
You could look at Doc. Doc is
the average.
Yeah.
So, anyway, back to Viagra. I'm pretty sure everybody's heard of Viagra. So here's some common reactions of Viagra. Headache. It's always great to try to have sex with a headache. Dyspepsia. Well, just take Pronasec. Take Pronasec. Go, TC.
Or just drink diet.
You want to have a headache? You want dyspepsia? You want to get rid of dyspepsia when you've had Viagra? No problem. Take Pronasec, OTC, and have some barbecue when you're about to get with your lady. Endorsed by Larry the Cable Guy. Heartburn and belching while trying to have sex. That's great. Flushing. That's not bad. You could actually say you're blushing, and then they could think you're a sensitive guy. Oh, here's a good one. Epistaxis. So that's a fancy word for bloody nose. So bloody nose while you're trying to be romantic. Maybe if your girlfriend's into The Walking Dead, I guess. Insomnia, which that's not a big deal because after the guy's done, he'll just go to sleep anyway, so that's fine. Myalgia, muscle pain, that's bad. Dyspnea, shortness of breath, which I'm assuming if you have to use Viagra, you already have shortness of breath tying your shoes anyway. And I do know people who get short of breath tying their shoes. Doc. Yeah, okay. Let's see here. Runny nose. That happens to people. Paresthesia. That would be funny. So basically, it feels like your arm goes to sleep or a part of your body falls asleep.
That's not fun. That doesn't sound like it'd be any fun, just in general.
Visual disturbance. That's not a big deal. They just keep the lights off. So there are super serious reactions, and I'm not going to talk about a bunch of them except for my favorite one. My favorite serious reaction of Viagra that I've seen in the emergency room as a nurse, not as a provider. Priapism. You know what priapism is?
I do not.
Priapism. It is when an erection doesn't go away.
That's what I figured it was.
You can just have observation for that, medical observation, or it can require surgical intervention. Now, this was a long time ago when I saw priapism, but the one guy I know for sure had to have surgery.
Oh.
And how do they fix it? Well, I don't know if it's true or not, and I'm not a surgeon. I've never worked with surgeons. I've been chummy with surgeons in the ER and known some pretty good people. But I was told what they do is they stick a giant needle in that bad Larry and drain the blood out of it.
That's what I've heard. That's what I also assume would be the easiest thing to do.
But they do have procedures like embolization I'm assuming that's under like X-ray or CT, but injections. So I remember this one guy came in one time when I was an ER trauma nurse, and for a while there it was a thing. I guess they were cutting cocaine with Viagra and snorting it. And that poor guy, yeah, he went off to surgery.
Yeah.
So I guess why are these medications so popular? It's advertising.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, Well, because wasn't Viagra, didn't it used to be like a heart pill? That, like, I don't know. I've heard that it used to be like a heart pill that helped with heart problems, and then it had the side effect that it is mainly used for now, so they switched the advertising for it.
Well, it works to, I mean, it's obviously working to dilate blood vessels, so that's why the spongiosum cavernosa fills up, because it dilates the blood vessels. That's why it's dangerous for people who take like nitro. You have to ask them if they take nitrates before you even think about prescribing Viagra. And the interesting thing is, a lot of people who need Viagra are heart patients, and those are the last patients that I even want to give Viagra to.
They would drop dead.
Yeah, so I'm always like, oh, this person's going to die. The interesting thing about Viagra, though, is it's been out for so many years, and it's still expensive as crap.
Yeah, hasn't it been around like since the 60s?
It's been around for a really long time. I don't know how long, but a really long time. And it's still like $30 a pill. So even with us, if insurance covers it, I think I'm only allowed to write for 6 pills a month.
Just get the air pressure tire gauge.
Yeah, just get that. Well, I can write for those too. So speaking of advertising, the one that I find the most funny is Valtrex. Valtrex has gone out of their way to make everybody with genital herpes look like they're the most fascinating, exciting people on the planet, and they lead just amazing lives.
I'm going to say if you have genital herpes, that's probably not true.
Well, I would also say that by now, there's so much of the population has genital herpes that they probably have dating services for people with genital herpes.
That's true. Have you seen the number of people that have STDs? It's pretty scary.
I think it was 1 in 4 of the younger age group.
That's
now it might be down to 1 of 3.
Well, because they always talk about make sure that you get everything tested and everything like that. I don't know anybody who's ever been tested for anything like that. So I don't think that the youth very much care for such things.
No, clearly they don't, no matter how many warnings we give them. There was a period of time when I worked for Planned Parenthood, and man, did I just try to encourage people to practice safe sex. It only takes one person, but I don't know. But if you have genital herpes, it won't be. Your life will change for the better, because you're going to live on a lake with mountains off in the distance. You're going to do a lot of horseback riding through beautiful streams, canoeing in expensive wooden canoes.
I'd rather be broke and healthy.
Well, apparently your life just dramatically changes once you get genital herpes.
I would say that's probably very true, but not in the way that they show.
Well, it's a serious disease. It affects lots of folks. And they shouldn't be stigmatized, because, it's not like their fault that they got herpes. I'm not going to...
Right.
Yeah, a lot of people, there's people out there who have herpes that don't know that they have herpes. And it may never manifest, or it may just manifest later on in life. Unfortunately, I used to tell people that would come in with it and they get diagnosed with it. I used to tell them, like, don't run home and accuse your significant other of cheating, because it is a virus and it could have laid dormant for a long period of time before it ever came up.
Right.
So, but there are a lot of highly uneducated folks out there who are easily convinced they know what medications are needed and what's necessary, as an example. Or they might just ask for Valtrex because the commercial's cool. Like, I think I need that medication because I want to look cool like those people.
Sure.
So, I don't know. I also noticed that a lot of times that people come in and ask me for tests. I know that I had people some males ask me for specific blood tests that look for the presence of cancer cells of the breast that are common to women. I've had that question asked. I've had women ask me about their prostate. That's not a lie. I've had that done. I'm waiting for a man to ask me about his uterus.
I'm sure it'll happen in our uneducated world.
I'm sure it will, because really what they need to do is they need to really start teaching anatomy, physiology, that sort of thing in class, in school, instead of not teaching it and making it elective when you get to college. Because nobody knows anything about that. And they blow off health class, which health class should really be started from a young age and should just continue. But it's like, I don't know. I would imagine that health class now is about my equivalence of home ec when I was in school.
Well, I had health in 4th grade for like 3 days, and then I had health in 9th grade, and then I think I took it, I had it in 4th and 9th grade, and that was like 5 years ago. So and you only get taught for like one semester.
To be fair, when you learned it in 4th grade, they did a good job.
I mean, yeah, they just told you don't go talk to the girls after class and not to discuss what you were told. And I mean, they tell you everything, kind of.
Yeah, because I asked you and your friend about it after you had it, and you guys seemed pretty well versed.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally, I just remember we had a purple paper, and it said, "This is what you'll look like in a few years," and that's it. And we just said, okay, and that was that.
But they didn't show you any Viagra commercials and make you guys want to have herpes.
No, they just showed us a very informative slideshow that I still don't. I'll make jokes every now and again. Like I took the health class in 4th grade, and I took the health class in 9th grade, and they're still like, I don't know. I don't even remember what I don't know. The only thing I remember is the vas deferens, and I remember that because it makes no difference that I don't know where it is.
Like, it makes no difference that I don't know where the vas deferens
Yeah.
is. Okay, fair enough. Well, I guess we're going to head off to our movie now then. Maybe we'll actually get to see it.
I would hope so, because it's pretty good.
Well, and if we get any heartburn, we can always take some Prilosec.
I'll
OTC.
probably suffer through it. I don't need to.
You're gonna suffer through it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thanks a lot for listening, folks. It's been a nice episode of Beaveman and the Doc, minus the Doc, with Skylar. Did you want to plug anything before you go?
See Avengers Endgame in theaters now. Get your tickets if you can. Hopefully someday I will have a job making those movies, so nice to plug them now. And that's really the only big plug I have.
Well, that's free advertising for Marvel. I know they didn't pay us anything, but I really wish they would.
I really hope they will.
All right, so thanks a lot, Beavemanites and Docutrons. Adios, mooch fuckos.
Goodbye.
Pika pika.